is all right. We're gonna get recorded, which is great. All right, let's start this first presentation at Census of South America, which is a good friend, Carl Egloff. He's living here in Ecuador. He is one of the mountaineers, well, let's say the fastest mountaineers, and he'll tell you his story. But he's like the road runner of the Andes and other mountains around the world. He's Speedy Gonzalez, and bleep bleep, he's Carl Egloff here for you with some information on the mountaineering, the Andes, and how actually to create a program probably on anything that has to do with mountaineering in South America. Please, Carl, take it away.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon to everyone. And yes, I'm Carl Egloff. I would like to introduce myself first. I'm going to show you right now my presentation, and I hope you're going to like it. We are here in Ecuador. I'm 40 years old. As you can already see in my name, it doesn't really sound like very Ecuadorian. I have a Swiss father and an Ecuadorian mother, so it's a nice combination. And I was born here in Quito, in the capital of Ecuador, and I was very lucky to grow up really here in Ecuador. My childhood was amazing. I was always surrounded with mountains. I was always very close to the nature. And my father used to guide a lot. So he took me to the mountains in very early age. I was so lucky that I had him in my life. So there was this connection immediately. Even when I was 2 or 3 years old, he was already bringing me to the huts and leaving me there behind sometimes, and just enjoying the beautiful nature and how Ecuador is. What I do today I'm 40 years old. I'm a mountain guide. I'm an international mountain guide. I'm an athlete. I'm living today a lot as an athlete, competing all over the world. And I'm owner of a mountaineering company here in Ecuador focused on trekking and hiking. I'm going to talk about it a little bit later today. And I'm a motivational speaker. Today, I'm also running a lot in the mountains, as Bram already mentioned it. But my real passion in life, besides my family, is guiding. I think guiding gives me something that I cannot win it in during my competitions or while I'm running on the mountains. Guiding gives me the perspective of how people feel on the mountain, how much effort they have to reach the summit, to be part of reaching their dreams and planification and everything. I think climbing a mountain is much more than just climbing a mountain. Climbing a mountain sometimes is a lot of things behind, and also while you're climbing, you're sometimes reaching your limits. So it's really one of the most wonderful sports that you can practice here in Ecuador. So I'm so very glad that I focus to guide. I have been able to guide many people from all over the world, and in many different countries. So I'm a privileged man, as I can see, because what I do for a living is what I love the most. So this is actually a huge privilege. But actually, I became very famous worldwide, beating some important speed records. And everything started actually as a coincidence on Kilimanjaro, while I was running on the afternoons, while my clients were resting on the different huts. I was just taking my tennis shoes with me and running up to the summit and back. And then people started to laugh and said, like, this is not possible. And then the agency in Switzerland said, like, Carl, is it really true that you were running up the summit of Kilimanjaro and you were back before dinner with your clients? And said, yes, but this is my free time. And they said, no, I'm not claiming anything. It's just impressive. I would like to sponsor you to try to beat the best time ever to climb Kilimanjaro. And the guy who has this record is Kilian Jornet. I've never heard about him. And they said, okay, go home and train for it and Google who he is. And this is how everything started. I said, okay, this is a huge opportunity for me. Why not? I should take it. And this is how Carl just was there in the front of Kilimanjaro, this huge mountain. And I ran up and down the mountain in less than than 7 hours. And this is how I became famous. And everyone was asking, like, who is this guy? Who is this coming from? And how comes that he just broke one of the legendary Kilian's record? And then I said, okay, this is actually just starting. I would love to go to Aconcagua and keep going to all these different 7 summits. And today I'm holding 4 speed records, 4 of the 7 summits. I did Kilimanjaro is the very first one, then Aconcagua, then Elbrus, and finally Denali in running up and down the mountains in the fastest time ever. And this made me, of course, a very privileged man. And I started to travel a lot and focus Ecuador. Everyone was looking back like, how is he training? Where does he come from? And I had to take a decision in my life. And this decision wasn't easy. 5-6 years ago, brands from outside said like, Carl, living from sports in Ecuador is quite difficult. So it would be much better for your career if you would move to the US or to Switzerland or to Europe. And I said, no, here's where I was born. This is the country I love. I raised my kids here. I have my family here. And I really love Ecuador. I love the Andes. I love how I can train and just take the car in 2 hours. I'm in Cotopaxi training at really high altitude. So I'm a very privileged man to do this. I developed myself to be a very fast person during, especially in places where you shouldn't be that fast because it's dangerous. But I developed myself to be very secure while I'm doing this, as I used to guide all my life. So being in the mountains, jumping over crevasses, being fast on places where probably a normal athlete on a street or a cycling athlete on the triathlon I would feel unsecure. I feel pretty secure because I do it every time. I do it almost 3-4 times a week that I'm on the mountains training. I have had a beautiful experiences all over the world, running up the mountains, getting to know amazing people, cultures, and every time I was away, I was abroad, I noticed how beautiful our country is, how beautiful it is to train, to offer also some tourism here in Ecuador. I'm going to talk right now about South America as the Andes. I'm not talking about Galapagos or other types of tourism. I'm just focusing my speech today on climbing mountains. And I think South America is the very best continent in the world to do it. Why? Because you can really mix culture, you can really mix high altitude training. You have very complicated climbs as well as very beginners climbs. You have all this geography, which is unique, and everything is pretty close together, and it's cheap compared with other countries to other continents. So the Andes are huge. We are talking about hundreds and hundreds of mountains or different types of mountaineering, from very easy mountaineering to very technical mountaineering, to Himalayas of South America called Peru, for example, or Bolivia, which are very technical mountains, to very easy mountains as Ecuador or Colombia. So it's huge what you can offer in South America, and always combining culture. For example, La Cordillera Blanca in Peru is unique. It's like 150 years ago. If you arrive to Huaraz, there's still this touch of really an old town, and next to Huaraz, even watching from the window of your hotel, you can see those amazing peaks, just very steep walls, and everything is white, and you can do their amazing trekkings like Waiwash or trekking Santa Cruz, and many other different options, from really beginner class to very technical climbing, doing 2-3 weeks of climbing or trekking. And then of course you are in Peru, you just are so close to Cusco, to Machu Picchu, to many other beautiful things and also in Arequipa, you have beautiful mountains where you can do. Waiwash is probably one of the most beautiful spots in the world to trek. So Alpamayo is considered one of the most beautiful mountains in the world. I was very pleased to be there and summited Alpamayo many years ago. It's just a unique place. you don't even want to sleep there. You just don't want to miss any second at night, how beautiful it turns with the colors and everything, and hanging around on this place is just, yeah, unique. Bolivia is well known for its culture. Bolivia has also all these beautiful high mountains, Huayna Potosí and Milimani and Condoriri and so many others that you can combine with Uyuni, where you can combine with really beautiful tradition, dancing, and so many things that you can do. All these high peaks, they are connected with amazing nature, with an amazing trips, lodging and lagoons. Everything is very high altitude. So for training, for even preparing for Himalaya, South America is a great spot, definitely. Chile and Argentina is where I work the most besides Ecuador. I travel a lot as a guide to Aconcagua. Is definitely one of the best-selling mountains in South America. And Chile also with all this beautiful Patagonia, Ojos del Salado, and so many Andes that you can combine. It's very European style, how everything is close together, how well organized everything is, and how the border between Argentina and Chile is it's a daily life to cross it. It's just unique to see Perito Moreno, for example, to walk over its glacier, and to be in Pucón, or just to be making a short tour over the glacier of Perito Moreno, to see how even they are still glaciers, they are growing. Then Torres del Paine, which are unique. You have seen this picture probably everywhere in the world, like Matterhorn in Europe, you can see Torres del Paine everywhere. It's just a unique spot to be there, and combined with culture, combined with trekkings, combined with all different sorts of tourism. You can really choose all quality of or how demanding you would like to spend time here in the Patagonia. And of course, Aconcagua. Aconcagua receives almost 6,000 climbers a year. I have been there for the last 12 years in a row. I am always working at Aconcagua. On February, it's part of my daily planification. I take clients from all over the world to climb Aconcagua. It's a unique experience. It's the highest mountain in South America. It's perfectly well organized, everything with the mules, with the agencies, with the transportation, logistics. It's just one of the most climbed mountains worldwide. And being at that altitude, it's really tough, sleeping so high, making all this expedition as a life, like planification, how you move, how you work with your team, how you manage to be 3 weeks with the same people, and just become family afterwards. So I think that Aconcagua is a beautiful experience to climb. Definitely. They have all the logistics that, like in the Himalayas, because even the owners of some agencies are based in another season in Himalaya, so they know exactly what clients need to be like very happy there. And today you can even find Wi-Fi on the base camp. You have showers, you have everything. It makes it really a beautiful spot to be. And then Ecuador, where I'm going to talk a little bit longer about Ecuador. Ecuador is the country I was pleased to grow. I still made my life here in Ecuador. I met my wife. She works with me, and we run a tour company called Cumbre Tours. It's just beautiful to be all the time on the mountains. It's nice that what is so special about Ecuador is like everything is so close. You can just arrive on the airport, and the next day, just after 1 or 2 hours drive, you are already on the base of a huge glacier, and everything is so close. It's called the Switzerland of South America. You have very modern freeways, and then you are just in a few minutes outside town, outside the city, and climbing and guiding and camping is here our daily life. You have all these beautiful waterfalls, lagoons, and everything. So just to know that, for example, in Ecuador, we have the highest mountain is called Chimborazo. and it's the closest point to the sky, the closest point to the sun. So many people want to climb Chimborazo because it's worldwide very famous. And of course, Cotopaxi. Cotopaxi is our icon mountain here in Ecuador. What do you expect about Ecuador? Or what should we expect about Ecuador? Ecuador has amazing lodges. This is something that every time I'm guiding international tourists, they are always very surprised how beautiful these lodges are. They don't expect much, and they are always like, wow, how beautiful, just in front of Cotopaxi, just in front of Chimborazo, all these beautiful mountains, and you are sitting in a 5-star lodge with spa, with massage, with amazing food. So this is something that many people don't know, how beautiful our lodges are and how lodging in Ecuador works. The altitude, which is very important to know, that Ecuador is one of the top destinations worldwide as a pre-acclimatization for Himalayas. Many people before climbing Himalayas, they come to Ecuador first to do their adaptation here, to sleep some nights at altitude, because you can really climb a huge mountain and the next day you are already back on civilization, what other countries cannot offer. Other countries, you are many days walking and walking, and here you can climb 1 peak, 2 peaks, 3 peaks, 4 peaks in a 14-day trip. So this is what it makes it like very mega diverse, and just going 3 hours to the rainforest and do some river rafting there, or walking through the jungle, or just take the plane and go in 2 hours, you are in Galapagos. So the coast in Ecuador, everything is beautiful, what you can combine on your trip. The cultural diversity, as in all South America, is unique with Indian markets and Indian markets and all these beautiful churches and all this culture and history and pre-Spain history. And you can really notice that you are here not just climbing, you are here in a place where you can do many things. Even in a day off, between climbing, you can rest on the town and do some cultural activities, which are beautiful, definitely. Trekking and mountaineering for beginners, this is what I was telling you before on the very beginning of this presentation, is that Ecuador, you don't have to be an expert. Actually, Ecuador is a country for beginners. So if you have never tried before to climb a glacier, this is the place you have to come, just to be aware how beautiful our mountains are. And they are not technical. They are not tough. They are high. You need an adaptation. You need a acclimatization. But as soon as you are walking in the glacier itself, it's not a mountain where we require like a huge background. No, it's the place where we really learn to do it. And everything is quite short in distances, in times, and you can switch regarding weather, you can switch one mountain to the other because everything is pretty close. The trekkings here in Ecuador are nice. Weather is nice, and what is very surprising for tourists when you are coming from abroad is like how much vegetation you have in such an altitude. Sometimes you don't expect any vegetation at 4,000 or 5,000 meters, and here in Ecuador you still have beautiful Paramo highlands, all these amazing volcano lagoons, crater lagoons like Quilotoa, like Huicocha, and other lagoons in the middle of the mountains. So trekking is definitely a beautiful place to do. Also here, this is one of the lagoons just half an hour away from the airport. This is the way going down to Papayacta, the hot springs of Papayacta. You can really just trek for 4 or 5 hours in between of these lagoons and arrive in the middle of the day to one of the most beautiful hot springs you can see, with glacier views and everything. I'm also very glad that I work every year with amputees from all over the world. And this is where I'm going tomorrow. I'm going to climb Cotopaxi with beautiful tourists coming here to tell their story and just inspiring our guides and myself. Of course, I've done it for many years. And this is how they are always so surprised how Ecuador is, how close it is, how beautiful it is. I'm glad to work also with the ambassador of the United States and many other VIPs here in Ecuador. And it's always very privileged people are switching countries as politicians or as ambassadors, and it's always nice to hear when they say like Ecuador is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been, and I would like to stay longer here. And this is something that gives me as a confirmation that I really chose the right spot to be here, to work here, and to be all the time on the mountains. We have almost 157 mountains, over 4,000 meters here in Ecuador. So you have really many to choose. Probably the most climbed mountain in South America is today Cotopaxi. We have 6,000 to 7,000 climbers a year. You have everyday people lodging in the refuge. And Cotopaxi is not just famous because it's a beautiful mountain, it's also famous because it's an active volcano. It's the third highest volcano worldwide. And as soon as you are on top of Cotopaxi, the view that you have from the summit is just, yeah, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. This is the view. I'm just standing in front of the crater. I don't know if you remember, I made a video for this conference, and I was exactly standing there when I was inviting you to be part of this video, of this presentation. The crater of Cotopaxi is huge, and it's very active all the time. Smoke is coming out. So it makes it unique to climb this mountain, makes it unique and privileged for myself. I've been like 400, 500 times on the summit, and it's always like the very first one. Every time to climb it, it's just a privilege. Chimborazo is a tough mountain, is a technical, it's not a technical mountain, but it's a really demanding, physical demanding mountain. And it's the right place to end a climbing tour here in Ecuador. Normally you climb 3-4 other mountains, and the very last one you do is Chimborazo. What makes Chimborazo so unique, it's not just the summit as the closest point to the sun. So it's also a mountain surrounded with culture, surrounded with beautiful animals, surrounded with landscapes. They are unique. Running on the under section of Chimborazo and all these beautiful lodges that you have, it's just unique. The Chimborazo has in total 4 summits. So whatever you see it from any side you see it, it's just different. And this makes it so beautiful. The giant of Ecuador. This is the last slope to the summit. It doesn't look on the picture how steep it is. It's a physical demanding mountain, and definitely worth it to climb it one day. Chimborazo is it's not just high, it's also how people here in Ecuador say you get graduated as an alpinist when you climb Chimborazo, because it's a goal for many climbers. And Cayambe is the highest elevation worldwide over the Ecuadorian line. It means just through the glacier, the Ecuadorian line goes through. So this is the highest elevation worldwide. It's a beautiful glacier. It's probably the nicest glacier we have in terms of how wide it is, how big it is, and also during summertime when it gets dry, how the glacier keeps white and big. We have Antisana, which is probably the most technical glacier climb we have here in Ecuador, and Antisana is the border between rainforest and the highlands. So the weather there is always very, very challenging, very nice, and you're surrounded with lagoons. You have bears, you have deers, you have many animals there, and the view of all the Andes. You can see also in the picture, you can see Cotopaxi, Chimborazo, Cayambe, and all other just very close to each other. This is Antisana in the middle of the crevasses, where people say like, "Oh, this is dangerous." It's dangerous. It's a privilege to be there if you know the way, of course. And this is how our guides are trained for. To be just there in the middle of the cake, it's just what I like the most in my profession as a guide. Just to be in a glacier, to be part of these structures, all these colors, or it's just unique. Antisana is probably the most beautiful mountain here in Ecuador. Is probably the one I like the most. And always combined with these lodges. You go down from Cotopaxi, from Chimborazo, and you have these amazing spots in very close, 20 minutes, 30 minutes away from the mountains, where you can even do your adaptation there, your acclimatization there. You can do horseback riding, soft trekkings. You can camp there if you want. You have always good food. You just can visit the lodges for a family lunch on a Saturday. So it's open for everything. And lodging is something that, as I said to you before, is very surprising for many tourists because they don't expect it from Ecuador. And it's really, really very high developed how we have these spots around the mountains. Our guides there in Ecuador, just is very good to know that they have all the instructors. They come from Germany, from France, from Spain, and they are one-to-one doing the same exams as we have it in Europe. That means we have the same certification, the EMGF, UAGM, which are the most privileged and the most awarded certification as guides. We are taught here in Ecuador how to guide anywhere in the world. That means if you have clients in Ecuador, they want to climb Everest, the guides are trained for it. They do this scouting, they do this approximation, so they are all bilingual. And I'm so happy to have a 30 guide team here in Ecuador working with me. And it's really nice because I'm always very secure when they are working on the mountains because they do very good decisions all the time. And what is also very beautiful of climbing our mountains here in Ecuador, to be on our national parks, is that even without, if you are not a mountaineer or you don't want to climb the mountains, just the experience to be around such a volcano, just to wake up in the morning and have breakfast in front of Cotopaxi, or deciding just to do a biking tour, or doing a soft trekking tour, or just a horseback riding tour. The options are big, and you can even drive to the hut of Cotopaxi as an activity to see how beautiful the hut is, where it's located, and all this history, all these pictures. This was my presentation today, and please, I'm really happy, looking forward for your questions, whatever you have about Ecuador, about Cumbre Tours, about my name, and thank you for listening. I'm really happy to have shared this presentation with you, and please let me know if you have any questions. Also, Bram, if you already prepared some, I'm happy to help out.
Thank you, Carl, for this fantastic intro on the mountains of South America. I think we all got a bit chilly looking at all that snow there, but also the way that you have actually gained those awards and being the fastest on several mountains as an Ecuadorian. I think that's a big applause, Carl. Really great, fantastic.
Thank you.
Let's see if there's some questions. There's really no question. There's just one question from Beth on the presentation. If we can share your presentation with clients.
Of course.
We are also recording this, so we will send this to all participants on Census, so they can actually have a look at any convenient time for them. But yes, you already said, of course. So Carl, Beth, you will get the presentation as well in PDF or PowerPoint, whatever it was. Any other questions for Carl? Tell us about your favorite spots in Ecuador.
Repeat the question, please. I didn't hear you good.
It's Marisa is asking you if you can tell about your personal favorite spots in Ecuador.
My personal favorite, of course, Marisa. Thank you, Brent, for the question. Well, I'm a mountain man. I'm definitely gonna choose mountains and also highlands. I was raised here in the Andes, so probably the most beautiful spot to be, and just to open my eyes and even breathing there is La Cordillera del Altar. This is a beautiful mountain just 2 hours away from Riobamba, and many different peaks, and there are many lagoons around, and it's probably one of the most beautiful spots in Ecuador. Also, Antisana is my favorite glacier.
Yeah, El Altar is not that much visited with tourists. It's like off the beaten path, but it's all possible. There's never a no. Carl, there's another question from Christian. Which countries do you think are the best to plan a combined climbing program, and how long is needed?
Well, this is a good question, Christian. For example, when I take my clients from all over the world to Aconcagua, they come to Ecuador first to do acclimatization here in Ecuador. And when I'm going with Ecuadorians somewhere else, for example, to Kilimanjaro or to Nepal, we always do this last adaptation here in Ecuador. Regarding this mountaineering combination that you are mentioning, I think Ecuador has everything to offer. So you can combine Ecuador highlands with Galapagos, with rainforest, with even other countries which are our neighbors that have also many things to offer. But the quantity of directions that you can go is huge. It's huge. Even if you are planning to do a very high peak like Everest, you can do here really a month or even 3 weeks of high altitude training, and you're enjoying it. You're not gonna suffer being in the middle of anywhere with a tent. You are always very close to civilization, having beautiful places to be. So the options are huge.
Super. Thank you so much, Carl.
You're
There are no more questions. So I want to thank you for your presentation and for the session. Thank you everybody for joining. Please enjoy the next meetings or today. There are no more sessions for the presentations for tomorrow. Please make sure that you get signed up for them under the program tab in the system. Thank you, Carl.
You're very welcome.
I hope to see you soon again.
I hope so too. And
yes,
big hug to everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks. You're welcome.
Bye.